Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Money Mondays. My name is Paul Johnson. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development here at GPCOG, and I am joined by,
Belinda Ray, the Director of Strategic Initiatives here at GPCOG.
and as always, we're here for the best 15 minutes of your Monday.
The best of your, what were you going to say, of your life? No. Every Monday, the
Could
best
be.
15 minutes of your life.
It's the best 15 minutes of my life, Belinda, and that's all that matters. So,
Every time. We've
yeah.
we've got a lot of minutes now.
All right, with that, let's start with
Enough.
today. I am going to go over the Maine Startup Challenge, which is kind of exciting because I believe this is either the second, it might be the third time I've gone over this. I don't know how long, Belinda, how long have we been doing Money Mondays?
Yeah,
Has it
we're
been
coming up on
2 years?
2 full years.
Right. So this might
So
be the
yeah,
third time. Right.
yep.
I could be wrong. So Maine Startup Challenge is held by and hosted by um, the Maine Venture Fund. And I have mentioned the Maine Venture Fund before, but as a quick reminder, the Maine Venture Fund actually gives capital injections and takes primarily will invest in local Maine startup companies and actually take equity investment in those startups. So it is like it is not just loans and grants and all that fun stuff. It's actually a resource that you can go and get equity investors into your business. But one of the cool things that the Maine Venture Fund does, and this is the fourth annual Maine Startup Challenge. And that is a Maine, it's a statewide business plan competition for students and aspiring entrepreneurs across Maine. And I will stress students, lots of high schoolers, middle schoolers, and even younger participate in this program. So if you have, next slide, Belinda. If you, I know there's not a lot of teachers on the line, or maybe not even principals or school administrators on the line, but if you have contacts with your school, or if there's a program about if there's a cool business program at your high school or middle school or computer science program, it's worth forwarding this along. It's a really good idea. It's a really great way to get younger people in the pipeline of being entrepreneurs here in Maine. They launched in 2022. And since then, you can see the stats. They've had 300 ideas submitted, 15 Maine counties, 300 attendees at the showcase, and $50,000 in prize money. And this will be the fourth year. And fun fact, I think the first thing I ever did for GPCOG was go to Baxter Academy with Maine Venture Fund and gave a school-wide presentation on my small businesses before I joined GPCOG, and then at the time, this brand new concept or this brand new program that was called the Maine Venture Fund's Startup Challenge. So every time this comes around, I know I survived one more year at GPCOG. So that,
That's a nice milestone, nice marker for you.
yeah. And then as always, the application line is hyperlinked. It goes right to the website if you want to check out more. But spread the word. It's really cool, and it's a great way to get into the classroom. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And I am talking today about the community greenhouse grants from the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, the only people with a less pronounceable acronym than GPCOG, DACFA. Okay, so the purpose of these grants, they want to fund projects that are going to create durable greenhouses that can be used for food production and educational use. I have pictures in here of greenhouses, and I've been very careful to say, look, the fact that I've put this picture of a greenhouse in doesn't mean this type of greenhouse is eligible for this grant. They have a definition of durable within the grant, and I can't tell from this if this meets it or not. So don't come back and say, this lady at GPCOG told me I could do this. You got to check it out. I just like the pictures to inspire. So that definition's in there. You can look it up. But eligibility, municipalities, counties, school districts, state agencies or authorities, the humane system, Maine Maritime Academy, Maine Community College system. So in the grant, it says schools, universities, but then it specifies these particular universities. Again, this is a lovely greenhouse. Not sure you can do this one. The priorities here, they want things that have a shared community use. So you have to show that there's a community need for it, that you have some strong partnerships that will be involved, and that there's long-term sustainable benefit to the community. They also want to have these things increase local food consumption, the production of food, so that the local consumption of local produced food can increase. And it should have some kind of positive impact on the Maine Won't Wait Climate Action Plan efforts to strengthen Maine's food economy, particularly by increasing the amount of food we consume that is produced in Maine by to 30% by 2030. And then the final one is educational use. So whoever is doing this, you're definitely going to want to have some kind of educational partner involved so that they know that you will expand or enhance learning opportunities. These could be opportunities around nutrition for children and adults. It could be about the consumption of local food to let people know where they can get it, how healthy it is because it's fresher, it's traveled fewer miles. Also, training for growers would count under the educational use. Allowable costs are the costs associated with the purchase of your greenhouse, the costs associated with siting and installing the greenhouse, and costs associated with supplies to operate the greenhouse for these shared educational uses and food production. The supplies budget can't be more than 25% of your total funding request. So really they want the bulk of the money to be going toward purchasing and siting and setting up the greenhouse. Unallowable costs, expenses not directly associated with purchasing, siting, installation, and operation, including things like barns and sheds and garden sheds to go with your greenhouse. Particular types of greenhouses. So this one here, I am confident is not eligible. I know that you have to have wood or steel frame. It has to be durable. It has to have glass, or it has to have certain poly sheathing that will stand up to the elements. And this one, I am confident, is a temporary seasonal greenhouse. That's not the kind of thing they want to fund. They won't fund greenhouse structures that don't meet the Maine Uniform Building and Energy Code. So you're going to want to check in, make sure whatever it is you're looking at will fit the bill here to get the funding. More unallowable costs. So they're not going to pay for your indirect or your overhead expenses. They don't want to pay that. They won't pay personnel salaries, benefits, fringe, no debt payments. You can't use these for cannabis production, can't involve pesticide. You're not going to get money for pesticides and herbicides. Maybe you're going to wind up using some of some sort, but that can't be one of your costs. And obviously anything that's incurred prior to getting your grant contract, which is pretty standard with most grants, that you can't get money before your grant contract and you can't get money after the end of your period of performance. So just to recap, the minimum amount you can ask for here is $25,000. The maximum is $250,000. They have $500,000 they can give out in this round. So if two people ask for $250,000, those are the grants. If you have everyone asking for the minimum, that would be what, 20 grants, I think is what that comes out to. So it will depend how many people are asking as to how many grants go out. To get the money, you can get everything on a reimbursement basis for your administration supplies, and your administration. But important to know, you can request an advance for expenses associated with the purchase of the greenhouse. So for instance, if you have to put down a big deposit on this greenhouse, you can probably get an advance to take care of that. It's all going to be outlined in the contract if you get a grant. The timeline for this, they expect the awards to be announced in May. They think your contract term is going to start on August 1st and go through June 30th of the next year. So it's about 11 months to do the project, get the greenhouse. I gave it a 4 here. There's an online app. You can download a copy and prepare your answers in advance, which makes them advancers, I guess. There is supplemental documentation you're going to have to mail separately, but everything's pretty straightforward. The one thing I wanted to flag, you're going to need to submit a quote for the greenhouse. So you can't just say, I want 25,000, I'm going to buy a greenhouse. You've got to have a quote ready to go to say, this is how much it's going to cost to get it, to install it, so that you can put that forward. Deadline for these is April 28th by noon. So you've got a good 5 or 6 weeks. And next steps, if you're looking at it, you can register. There is an informational session coming up on April 1st, not a joke. Visit the Opportunity website, read the RFA. If you have questions on the RFA, you want to get your questions in by April 10th at noon, and they will answer them on the website page. You can get into that grant application when you're ready. And here's the RFA coordinator if you have questions about the application or the process, Michelle Webb at DACF. So that's the greenhouse grant, which I'm really excited about. I love these things that are increasing local food production and educational based and getting people out there and into the gardens, into the greenhouses. So
Hmm.
pretty exciting stuff.
More importantly, I think we just coined the phrase or the word advancers. Advancers?
Advancers. When you get your, yeah, advancers.
I
What's
feel
that
like we
for?
could
If
make
you
some
have
sort of corporate pitch here and start, taking a road tour.
advancers trademarked.
Right.
Ah,
Don't just give answers, Belinda. Give
give
advancers.
advancers. Yeah. That's giving the answers before someone asks the
Yeah,
question, I
right.
think.
Right. That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
that
Right.
is.
I think it's
Yeah,
perfect. Right.
I like it.
Right.
All right. I
Well,
did
thanks
the,
for joining us, everybody. And remember, if it is money, then it is Mondays.
and if it is Monday, it is money.
See
All
you all
right.
next week.
Bye, everybody.